isolate the actuator from the electric power. In this case, we open the 4 screws of the connector panel and pull it off. Now, we wait till the unit is de-energized until the display goes off. Now, open the 4 screws of the display cover and pull it off carefully. For better handling, disconnect the cable from the display board. For the update to firmware 1600, 2 separate SD cards are required. The first SD card is for preparing the file structure on the boards. Insert the first SD card with the preparation firmware into the SD card slot. Plug the cable back in, temporarily mount the display and reconnect the actuator to the power. Preparing the software takes a moment and is completed as soon as the display shows a corresponding message. Disconnect the power again. Wait until the display goes off and take off the display cover again. Now, insert the second SD card with the firmware 1600 into the SD card slot and reconnect the display and power. As soon as the firmware update is complete, the display lights up and shows the corresponding message. Remove the SD card and restore the actuator to its normal state by reconnecting the display and power. After the update, firmware 1600 must be activated. To do so, a separate activation code must be generated for each individual actuator. Go to parameter 20.2, Smart Code. With the red button, edit the parameter. The correct character will be selected with the black button and saved with the red button. Go through all the characters until the activation code is completely entered. Now the actuator is activated and ready. Firmware 1600 offers several new options in the user level section. Different users have different access to the actuator parameters. By default, the actuator is set from level 1 to 4, which are the parameters that are mainly used in the field. User level 5, 6 and 7 are reserved for experts, such as local service technicians or manufacturer technicians. These user levels have access to certain parameters which should not be easily changed. The actuator comes in user level 2 as standard. To change the user level, go to the first parameter. This shows which level is set. Edit this parameter with the red button, set the desired user level with the black button, and save it again with the red button. Now you have to enter a password. The password can be found in the operating instruction manual. LLVL stands for Local User Level 4. With the red button, save the password. User Level 4 can read and write most of the parameters. User Level 2 could only read. Firmware 1600 has also changed the format of the various menus, especially in the status and history data. Here the view has been renewed for a clearer picture on the display. This is visible in the binary outputs, inputs, analog values and the firmware structure. The main focus is on the history data. These have been extended. Instead of 100 entries, the actuator now stores up to 500 entries. Additionally, the actuator logs in the history when a parameter has been changed. This provides a corresponding traceability of changed actuator functions. As you can see here, the user level has been changed from user level 2 to 4. It is possible to set the user level on the drive. If the power is turned off and on, the drive will return to its stored user level. In this case, user level 2. To change this, set the corresponding user level. Afterwards, you can change and save the default user level with which the drive should wake up in parameter 7.1. The Firmware 1600 offers a new possibility of a backup of the parameters. According to the user level, you can save the parameters. Commission the actuator on site and then save the parameter setup. Go to parameter 20.4. Here you can save the parameters in relation to the user levels. In this case, user level 4 can only make a customer backup. A high-level backup, for example, when the actuator goes to the service center, a corresponding backup can be done. As well as a factory backup is available, which is reserved by Schiebel. In parameter 20.3, a backup can be restored to override the corresponding parameters. Here it is also possible to restore a service backup with user level 4. Another new feature of Firmware 1600 is the display inverse. Parameter 19.56 must be changed. Edit this to 1 or on and save. The background now is black and the text is white to enable a better view of the display in direct sunlight. In the new Firmware 1600, additional setting functions of the binary outputs have been implemented to ensure even more flexibility. These are located in the parameter group 10. Additional functions of the individual binary outputs have been implemented in order to provide the customer with more feedback, for example error messages. A detailed list can be found in the operating instructions. To connect the actuator to the computer, activate the corresponding connection type on the actuator. In this case, the infrared connection is activated in parameter 20.6. The activated infrared connection can be recognized by the red flashing LED. Attach the hardware to the actuator. In the Smart Tool software, select the appropriate connection type. Now you are connected to the actuator. The established connection can be recognized by the rapid red flashing LED on the actuator.